If you're a business owner or salesperson looking to significantly increase your cold sales over the next 12 months, then listen up, because in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you the exact cold outreach strategy that I've used to close well over £5 million in new cold revenue. Now, I shared this at a recent conference only a couple of weeks ago. Today, I'm going to reveal that entire presentation for you. This is 45 minutes of pure actionable value. So grab a pen and paper, close all your tabs, and enjoy your presentation.
Please stand, put your hands together. Help me welcome to the stage, Mr. Jordan Platten.
Right. Okay, is my mic on? Can you hear me? Okay, cool. Nice. This is actually the second event in a row that I've been on stage after the drinks the night before, so I guess welcome to the after party. Today we're going to be getting high on cold sales. Cool, what's up guys? Let's go through who I actually am. I've got my slides on screen. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Jordan Platten. I'm the founder of Affluent.co, which is a multi-service digital marketing agency based here in the UK. We've generated over 56 million in return on investment for various e-commerce companies around the globe. Now, I'm also the owner of the Affluent Academy, which is an education business where we teach other aspiring agency owners how to launch, build, and scale to 10, and in some cases 100K, 500K plus per month. Okay, now we've got over 2,400 high-ticket clients in that education business, which was birthed from the success of the actual agency itself. Now, I am what some people would call a YouTuber. It seems you get to a certain level of views on YouTube, and that is your full identity. You're no longer a business owner. You are just a YouTuber to everybody that meets you, unfortunately. Now, a little bit of background on myself. I actually came from a sales background in 2015. I actually got kicked out of university. I was in a lot of debt. I had a bit of an ego problem. I was going out all the time, spending my money, putting money on credit cards, and I wanted to get that paid off very quickly. And so I thought, okay, how am I going to do this as quickly as possible? And so I jumped into sales. Actually, a telemarketing job. I was doing cold calls every single day, over 100 cold calls a day. It was very dog-eat-dog, pretty boiler room environment. And I thought I'd make my life a lot easier than that. And so then I jumped into a door-to-door sales role instead, which was not easy. I was selling to estate agents. If any of you are in the real estate industry, you'll know you're in an office full of salespeople. So me, as this young 22-year-old guy jumping into an office, incredibly difficult and strenuous sales environment, let's just say that. In late 2017, I quit my job to start my marketing agency. I signed up my first client in my first 2 weeks. And in 2019, I made my first million at 25 years old. Now, the thing is that's unique about my story, which is different to many people that have success online, is 95% of my traffic, 95% of my sales came from organic sources. And actually, still to this day, probably more so, around 80% of my sales come from organic sources. One of those being my YouTube channel, where I've got around 240,000 subscribers at the moment. You might have seen. Out of interest, have any of you ever seen any of my videos online? Okay, a few. Oh, cool. Okay, sweet. So we started off making marketing-related videos, like how to start Facebook ads and so on, but actually that's not really where my true passion lies. I created those videos as an agency owner, but I've always really enjoyed the sales type of content, so lots of our new content is more kind of sales heavy. Now, I've got some stats here for those of you that are interested. I always get asked this question, like what does it look like on the back end of YouTube? So this is over the past 4 years or so. We've racked up 16 million views, 1.6 million hours of watch time, and a little bit of pocket money there from YouTube for uploading about a video a week over the course of 4 years, which isn't too bad. Now, as I said, I am an agency owner. This is my agency. We work with brands with big ideas, any e-commerce brand that's trying to think outside of the box. We've generated over 56 million in return on investment, and we spend over $40,000 a day as of right now on ads. We've served over 148 brands as well. Actually, this data is a little bit old. It's a few more than that right now. Now, because of that, we teach agency owners as well. This is taken from one of our awards evening, hosted not too far from here actually, where we reward agency owners within our community who consistently generate exceptional client results. We pride ourselves in delivering exceptional results for our clients through paid ads. So whilst I'm going to be talking about cold outreach today, I'm a huge advocate of paid ads and what they can do for your business. Now, in that business, we've helped over 300 people quit their jobs, and we have over 50 six- and seven-figure earners. Actually, this numbers are a little bit more than this at the moment as well. Okay, enough about me. Today I'm going to teach you how to explode your sales using cold outreach with zero ad spend. Okay, there is a little bit of cost involved, but it's negligible compared to the returns. Now, I am, as I said, a huge advocate of paid ads, spending over 40K a day. What I'm not going to do is spend the next 45 minutes slagging off paid ads. The way I see this is as part of a balanced marketing strategy, a balanced client acquisition strategy for any business. Okay, any business should have a solid inbound and outbound strategy. I normally recommend one solid in each of these so you're not overcomplicating your processes. And today we are going to be focusing on the outbound side of client acquisition. So what are we going to cover? First of all, we're going to go through the power of cold outreach. We're going to cover the foundations of effective outreach. Our secret sauce that gets up to 20 times return on investment, actually in some cases more than this, as you'll see today. And the kind of team structure that you should follow, and some automation tools as well. Now, I will have to warn you that I could talk about this for 45 hours, let alone 45 minutes, so I have condensed this down to be as actionable as possible today for you. So whilst I might spend 2 minutes on one bullet point, that one bullet point could be a very important piece of information, so please take note of everything that we kind of go through today and make as many notes as possible. I will try and endeavor, if I'm allowed to, upload this onto YouTube as well so you can watch this back and study it at a later time as well. Okay, let's start off with the power of cold outreach. First of all, I'm going to teach you really how to make an additional 50 to 100K a month within your business with less than $5,000 spent. Hold I know I'm mentioning dollars in this presentation. I don't know why it is that in the UK we seem to accept international currencies, but if I put this presentation in the US with a pound sign, it would be like a hieroglyph was up on screen right now. So. Now, this will work for B2B and B2C, whether you're a coach, consultant, or an agency owner, or any business owner for that matter. Actually, I think that every business in the world that is selling a product or a service should be doing some form of cold outreach. Most people just shy away from it. Cold outreach is just the initiation of contact with people that have not found your business before, people that haven't seen us previously. Very similar to ads in a sense. And we can do this in a multitude of different ways, the main ones being email, direct message, and cold calls. Now, whilst I would love to spend the next 45 minutes getting granular on cold calls with you guys, I'm only going to be going through email and DMs today because the strategy is something that can be replicated across both. So, why should you care about this? Why should you take notice of cold outreach now? It's something that's been around for a very long time, right? Well, competition is greater than ever at the moment, with so many people starting and having online businesses. Many of us find ourselves in industries that are already saturated by the time we come to them. And ads have become the baseline for most businesses out there. It's now the norm to run ads for your business. If you're not doing so, then what are you doing, right? But most people are too lazy to be doing cold outreach. That's the harsh reality of it. They think there are too many moving parts, or maybe they tell themselves it doesn't actually work. And that's normally an excuse for the former. But emails have been proven to be up to, almost 40 times more effective at client acquisition than Facebook and Twitter combined. Can I get a raise of hand how many of you guys already have an email list right now and are actively promoting that list? Great, so you see the value in email, right? But you are, at the moment, confining that to just people that have already raised their hand and they're warm already within your ecosystem, within your funnel, okay? Well, I'm going to teach you today how to get more people from outside of that bubble. Now, 78% of decision makers have taken an appointment as a result of a cold email. Okay, so a huge amount of decision makers have responded positively to a cold email. And LinkedIn's in-mail feature has a 300 times higher response rate than emails with the exact same content. So that shows just how powerful direct messages can be, even versus email. Here's some results from a business that we've worked with, and we ran both their outbound emails and their Instagram outreach. Now, I don't know if you can see these numbers on screen right now, but we generated about 48,000 in the first month for a business via email outreach, sending, I think it's around 6,000 emails. Yeah, 6,400 emails. And then through under 1,000 Instagram DMs, we generated $19,000 in return on investment. So it's about 65,000 in the first month of this business doing cold outreach. Cool. Now, as a general rule of thumb, and I'm speaking very broadly now, catering to all of you guys, generally 1,000 emails should generate 1 to 3 booked calls, okay? And these are shown up booked calls, people that have actually shown up and you're speaking to them. 200 DMs will get you about the same, 1 to 3 booked calls. But of course, DMs is very broad, okay? There are many social media platforms out there that you can use. LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Now you can outreach on TikTok as well, and even Pinterest. And ultimately, you need to decide which platform is most relevant to your target audience, which platform are your customers hanging out on. So what are the foundations of cold outreach? Well, first of all, these are the questions that you want to ask yourself, and you probably have gone through things similar to this in previous talks, so I won't linger on this for too long, but you want to ask yourself, what is my offer, okay? Does it solve a big problem? Okay, and by a big problem, I mean, if I'm reaching out to my target demographic, is it big enough of an issue that they are already thinking about this problem that they're looking to solve or actively looking for it? And so when you reach out, you are just conveniently placing yourself in the hands of your ideal customers with an offer that they are already actively looking for, a problem that they're looking to solve. And this is easy to understand. You don't want to have a really long webinar to explain the concept of this offer itself, okay? Actually, in some cases, you can promote a webinar via email, but that's a conversation for another time. But ideally, this wants to be as simple as possible. Who is your ideal customer, okay? Where do they hang out? What platforms are they on? Are they on LinkedIn? Are they on Instagram? Are they on Facebook? And how can I identify them? How can I, and you want to think about this through the perspective of how can I locate these people in a broad enough sense for me to build a list that I'm going to reach out to later on? Because we can't depend on Facebook or Instagram or targeting options to go and find these individuals. We have to go and physically build this list ourselves or get someone to do it for us, and I'll run you through that in a moment. What assets do I have? Many of you who are already running ads right now have an unfair advantage over your competitors who are not doing cold outreach, right? And who aren't running ads at the moment. You already know what winning audiences to look out for. You already know what demographics you should target. You might already have case studies that you can use and leverage in that cold outreach. So how do we build a lead list? Well, I've got a number of different options here, and I am going to be running through how you can automate this process as well. This is in order of priority and what I see to be the most effective. I've literally sent hundreds of thousands of emails and DMs over the past 8 years or so. And this is the simplest way, is LinkedIn Sales Navigator. LinkedIn Sales Navigator is just a premium version of LinkedIn. It allows us to filter through different people on the LinkedIn platform via their job title, via their industry, via keywords. And we can use LinkedIn Sales Navigator alongside tools like snov.io, that is snov.io. I will give you access to a big list of all the tools that I run through today. And you can then extract all of those leads from those lists that you have saved. You can scrape Facebook groups. Many of us will be in industry-specific Facebook groups. We can use tools like Phantom Buster to go into somebody else's Facebook group. And some of these techniques are a little bit grey hat, but we've got to do what we've got to do, right? We want to get sales in. We can go in someone else's Facebook group. We can use a tool like Phantom Buster, and we can literally scrape every single lead from that Facebook group and send emails to them. We can scrape Instagram hashtags using the same tool. You can take a hashtag off Instagram, and you can put it into a tool like, again, Phantom Buster, and it'll go and build a list of all of the people that have used those hashtags. For example, I'm an agency owner. If I wanted to target agency owners for my program, I could do hashtag agency owner. You're not going to get many people outside of that category using that hashtag, are you? So that's going to build a list of people that I can target. You can pay lead generation freelancers on websites like Fiverr or Upwork to generate these lists for you. Or you can buy lists from data websites. There are a number of different data websites. Again, I will provide you with that later on. And finally, you can hire an in-house lead generator. Now, this isn't the best option for the majority of people. It's not the most cost-effective option for the majority of people, but some of you may already have the infrastructure that you can plug this into right away, the team structure already. But generally speaking, those of you that will want to hire an in-house lead generator will be doing so because your target audience are harder to locate in a broad sense across other platforms and through these other strategies. So this is what your lead list would look like. We don't do anything complicated for this. It's simply a Google Sheet or a CSV, or you can do this on Excel, for example. You're just storing all the relevant information: business name, domain name, decision-maker details, and contact details. If you're B2C, then of course this is not going to be any business details, just the contact person's details. So how do we prepare for outreach? What are the key steps? Well, first of all, you want to make sure that you build a list of at least 5,000 leads to start off with. You don't want to start outreach at least unless you've got a really good pool of leads, because when you do that, you constantly get in this cycle of sending a bit of outreach, doing some lead gen, sending outreach, doing lead gen, and it's very inefficient. You want to get 10 burner emails set up. Now, a burner email is simply a burner domain. A burner domain is simply a domain that you can use to send outreach from that you really are not too concerned about the health of. You absolutely, in no circumstances, want to use your main domain that hosts your website, or you use for client correspondence, for example, for email outreach. Because in some cases, if you get marked for spam too many times, you can get blacklisted. This can cause a lot of issues with your website, and then when you actually do need to use that email to speak to a client, you're going to run into trouble. So you need to make sure that you set up burner emails, okay? It's only going to cost you like £10 per domain per year, okay? And you can send 50 emails per domain. Some people will send more than this, but if you send 50 per domain, you're pretty safe on not getting banned at any point. Set up 1 to 2 burner social media profiles as well. Broadly speaking, this is platform to platform. You can send 100 DMs per day per social media platform. And what we do with a burner profile is we make it look like our original profile. Let's say it's Instagram. We want to have ideally about 9 posts on that feed so it looks authentic. We even buy a few followers on that page as well. Now, I would not recommend in any instance buying followers on your main page, because you will kill engagement on your profile. But seeing as we're not creating this page for engagement and we're simply doing it for perception, we want to buy a little base of followers, maybe 1,000 or so, to start off that burner page so people aren't getting DM'd by someone with no followers. And then finally, you want to warm up your email accounts for 2 weeks. If you're using an outreach tool like Instantly.ai or Lemlist, which are automated outreach tools, email tools, you can do this automatically, and warming is simply the act of simulating organic responding to the email itself. It'll send emails and respond to them through an algorithm, and then it will simulate good email health, and you want to do this for 2 weeks before you start sending any emails out. And the same again if you're doing this on an Instagram account. Generally speaking, post some stories, put some posts out over the course of 2 weeks, simulate organic actions and behavior. Okay, great. Now, it's really important that you do absolutely all these things. Okay, if you don't do these, then you're setting yourself up for failure. So what is our not-so-secret sauce? Okay, I did say secret sauce, but seeing as I'm giving it away to all of you guys, it's not so much of a secret now. But what I will say is those who lead will feast, and those who follow will eat leftovers. And what I mean by this is the same sense with our ads. If you go listen to somebody speak today, if you funnel hack one of your competitors and you copy their ad word for word, you might get some good sales, but what you're doing is you're eating leftovers. You're not feasting on the rewards of being unique, writing your own copy, making up your own angle. What you're doing is you're taking the byproduct of your competitor's strategy. So whilst I'm teaching you this today, and I am going to show you emails that have worked, and I am going to show you DMs that have worked, I want you to think about how you can apply this in a unique sense to your business and not just copy. So you can take the full-on rewards and you can gorge on the rewards of that effort that you've put in. But the truth is, most people suck at outreach, okay? They blast out thousands of unpersonalized emails. They CC in a mailing list, okay? They'll put it in and everybody can see all the leads that they've reached out to. I actually have done that myself in one of my first ever sales jobs. And they sell within outreach as well. It's very important within outreach you're not selling within the email or the DM itself. You want to make sure that you are leaving that to the meeting. The only goal of outreach is to get a booked call in, okay? There's also a send and forget culture with so many people. They won't send any follow-ups whatsoever. They will just send that first email or first DM and then forget about it. So what's the email framework that we use at our agency and for our clients as well? And again, I've sent hundreds of thousands of emails. This is what's working right now. That being said, what's working today might not work tomorrow. So make sure you think about the principles behind and the psychology behind this strategy so you can apply it for yourself. So we always have a personalized first line. This is very important, and this is probably the most important thing about our email framework. So many people aren't prepared to personalize an email, but it's so important that we do, so the people we reach out to don't just feel like a number. Don't just feel like you've sent this email to thousands of people, even if you have. So we want to say something that we can only say to that individual, and not a loose compliment like, I love your brand, or I love your website. Because that can be copy and pasted to everybody, and people aren't stupid. We then want to go in with an offer statement, okay? So a statement around our offer. I can help you achieve X result in this time frame, or you don't have to pay me. So we generally want a specific result within a specific time frame and some kind of a risk reversal, okay? We want to make this a no-brainer. This could also be in the form of an offer question, a curiosity question, which I'll come on to when we go through the script. We then want a case study of sorts. Many of you who've got existing businesses will have existing case studies, so you can use them and leverage them. That could be in text form, or if you've got great email health, you can go ahead and put an image as well. We've split tested both, and both work exceptionally well, but you do need better email health and to have a more established email account to be able to get away with sending images without falling into the promotions tab in Google Mail, for example. And then finally, we want to ask permission for the call. What you don't want to be doing is saying, hey, are you free on Tuesday, or would you be free over the next couple of days? It's a lot easier for somebody to agree to the idea of having a call. Yeah, I wouldn't be against having a call, than outright saying, yes, I want to speak to you tomorrow. So we want to ask permission for a call. So here's an email that we've sent. This is a real email that I sent for my agency. I'll take you through this. So, hey Ian, today I found Blakely's. Love the brand. Your Nova Titan Pergola is fucking awesome. I'm sure you get many emails like this, so I'll cut to the chase. My team and I were checking you guys out earlier, and we're extremely confident we can beat your current ads, or you don't pay us anything. This month we scaled a new brand from 120k rev to 400k. If it doesn't involve you spending extra time or launching any discounts, would you be against a quick call? Would love to share some ideas with you. In anticipation, Jordan Platten, and then your signature. So we have our personalized first line up the top. Our offer statement, we're getting straight to the point and telling people exactly how we can help them. Many people will put like my name is Jordan, I own this agency. People do not give a shit about you. They want to know, okay, how can this person help me? And if I open this email, is it getting deleted straight away? So you want to get in there straight away. You want to let them know that you are reaching out to them personally for a specific reason, and this is exactly how you can help them. We're then going to back that up with a case study, and then ask for permission for a call. And this is the exact response that we got to that specific email. Thanks for reaching out. Feel free to give me a call and send some details over, and they send a mobile number as well. But this is not an isolated situation. These are all responses to that exact specific email. You can even see Sandy in the middle there saying, love that you dropped an F-bomb. Sure, let's set up a time. And we do that because we want to make sure that when we're working with a business, we're going to get on with them. I have an ethos that if I'm going to sign up a client, I want to be able to have a beer with that client. I want to be able to get on with that client, because if not, the relationship is going to go tits up very quickly, especially in the advertising space. Okay, we often get blamed for our clients' issues, whereas if we find them to be a little bit more, let's say, relaxed, then it's going to be a happier relationship. This is also data from a 1-month period for that exact email that I just showed you. You can see we sent 27,000 emails. Actually, this includes follow-ups. So the number of cold outreach is a little bit less than this. We had a 90% open rate and a 7.1% response rate. I'll break this down for those of you that love getting granular with the data. So that's 781 responses. We had 109 of those were positive, which is 14% of those responses. 83 of them were qualified. Now, you won't actually many of you won't have this step. If you're in info, you're a coach, you're a consultant. In the agency space, because we're sending so many different emails, often bad leads fall through the net, and we need to have a further qualification process and see whether we actually want to accept the call. So we had 83 qualified, 47 booked calls, and 30 of those booked calls showed up. Now, I do find that the show-up rate is a little bit less on cold outreach than it is on ad traffic, for example, but we can offset that with volume. Now, this resulted in 11 closes at a very small 2K each, okay, but this is a monthly retainer in this instance. So 22,000 cash collected and 132,000 in lifetime value from these customers. In a 1-month period, and to give you some context, this is only 2 team members that cost $2,000 a month to get this return on investment. If we include entire software costs, we're probably looking at about $2,400 all in to get 22,000 cash collected on one single email campaign. So what are the keys to success? It's very important we have an attention-grabbing subject line. And believe me when I say I have tried out so many different subject lines over the years, every hack that you could imagine. And I cannot get a subject line to outperform quick question for first name, no matter what I do. And it makes sense, really, if you think about it. When you see, oh, it's a quick question, it's for me, you click that email. You can't resist but to click that email. No matter how many times I receive those emails, I still click them, even though I've taught so many people to use it. So try it out. And on that basis as well, if you want, you could just chuck quick question for first name into ChatGPT and see what else it throws out off the same basis. I'm sure you get a lot of different examples. Now, you need to outreach the decision maker. So many people will spend time reaching out to info@ and hello@ addresses, and that's a very lazy approach. Okay, it is much harder to get the business owner's details. But info@ and hello@ addresses just are not going to get you the same results. And the exact same applies when it comes to social media platforms. You want to reach out to the decision maker directly and not some kind of business page. There is one exception to that, and it's sometimes if you're reaching out to smaller companies on Instagram, because normally the business owner runs the page, but as a broad sense, you want to only reach out to the business owner's the decision maker. You want to hook in the prospect without revealing all. Many people will talk about what they actually do, what the mechanism behind the result of their service actually is. And a great email will not actually reveal. We're not saying, hey, we're going to run your Facebook ads, or we're going to run your TikTok ads. We're saying that we're going to increase their current return on ad spend, or we're going to make them X amount more revenue per month. We're not diving into the granular of exactly what we are doing. And this is really important. We want to make sure that there's this area of mystique within our email that leaves the prospect desiring more information. And we need to have a risk-free value proposition. Our offer needs to have some kind of a guarantee. I pride myself in the fact that 4 years ago or so, I was the first person in the agency industry, at least, in the agency education industry, to offer a guarantee on our programs. It's now actually become a very common thing and almost an industry norm to offer guarantees, specific results-based guarantees within your program. And I think as a side note, if any of you are as coaches, consultants, you're in the info industry, I think it's our duty that if we are providing a service, especially in the biz op industry, we're providing a service to people and we're going to get them a desired result, and we can promise them a desired result, we should put our money where our mouth is and back that up with a reverse guarantee. So how do we adopt this framework for DMs? Well, if you can write a good email, you'll be able to write a good DM. A DM really is just a smaller, more condensed version of that email itself. The framework is a little bit different. We still have our personalized first line, an offer statement, a case study, but we don't go for permission for a call. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to ask a curiosity question. I'm going to ask them a question which is relevant to our specific offer, okay? Something that's going to entice them to respond. So here's an example of a DM, which is actually to the exact same prospect that we sent that email to. I like to cover and hit people from all angles. Hey, Ian, need one of your Nova Titan pergolas for the summer. Not the reason for my DM, though. I'm curious to know if you're satisfied with your current ad ROI. I'm confident my team can beat it, or you wouldn't pay us anything. We just scaled another brand from 120K to 400K. Happy to share the source. So we've got our personalized first line. We then go straight in with a curiosity question. I'm curious to know if you're satisfied with your current ROI. We've got our offer statement and then a case study. We've got another example here as well, and this is slightly different framework. So we have our personalized first line. Love to see your growth over the years and recent Norwich store. Would you be keen to get more out of your current ad spend? If my team can't identify areas to increase your return on ad spend with one of our 360-degree brand audits, I'll donate $100 to a charity of your choice. We just scaled a brand from 160K a month to 480. Be happy to show you. Now, you'll notice that underneath, I don't know if you can see this, but I put dollars in the messages to a UK brand, and this is deliberately then afterwards put a pound sign with an asterisk to say, I made a mistake. And this is what I call the I'm human element. And you do this because in many cases, people presume that you're automating outreach to them. And so as many times as we can, we want to try and introduce something that says, hey, I am actually a person, I'm not a bot right now. And so we create these deliberate errors within our outreach. And we actually do this in our follow-ups as well. In our first follow-up, which might be a bump, hey, have you seen this email? We put sent from my iPhone. Because when you send an email from your iPhone or sent from my Galaxy S3, because then, even though it's automated via software, it looks like we've gone out of our way in the day to actually send a follow-up specifically to that person. And this skyrockets response rates. So here's some results from a DM campaign. This is over the course of a month. We've sent, again, under 1,000 DMs. This is 960, I think. Got 57 replies, 10 positive replies. The actual positive response rate on DMs is a lot higher than on email. Not sure why, but it is considerably higher. And we closed $20,000 from these less than 1,000 DMs. Now, 44% of salespeople give up after one follow-up, but 80% of sales require follow-up after initial contact. So 44% of people are missing out on 80% of the sales. It's generally because people are just too lazy to put in the effort. So what is the follow-up process? With emails, I recommend a very quick bump to start off with. Hey, just checking you've seen this, sent from my blah-de-blah. I then recommend doing that 2 days after your initial. 3 days after that, you would put a review or a testimonial or a case study. If you've got a link to a VSL which goes through a case study, maybe a short, under 10 minutes case study, great, you can send that and run through it a little bit in the email itself. And then the final one, 3 days after that, is some kind of thought-provoking email. Some kind of, well, you thought things go like this. Well, no, it actually goes like this. For example, we have an email that says Facebook ads don't work anymore. We just talk about the way that we do Facebook ads and the new way that they do work. So we want to strike some kind of a response from them and make them open that. With DMs, we can use multimedia, all right? So whilst we want to send a bump to start off with, we can also send a voice note to show them again that we're human. Now, if you're using appointment setters and team members are doing this for you, you just need to pre-record a voice note, and they can send this to them. Same again for video. You can send a quick selfie video saying, hey, look, I'm really keen to get a hold of you. I know I'm pestering you, but we can do X, Y, Z for you. Keep it very casual, under 30 seconds. Again, if you've got an appointment setter, you can pre-record this and send it over. All of this stuff I've done manually myself to start off with before I've given it to an appointment setter. I would generally recommend doing the same thing for you yourself, in the same sense that I would always recommend taking your own sales calls before you hire a closer to take those calls for you, because then you're going to have the metrics and you're truly going to know the best data, the best way to close, and so on. Now, what works for one does not work for all. And I mean this in a couple of senses. I mean this in the sense that if we were to contact 5 of our best friends, we would maybe call one of them, we would DM the other, we would send a text to the other. We know not everybody picks up the phone. So we need to treat our prospects in the exact same way. We cannot expect everybody to respond via email. Some people are used to email. So we need to also then DM them across a platform. So I always like to hit people on both email and DM the exact same leads. So we're getting that omnipresence. If you're running ads as well, which of course you should be, then you have true omnipresence. You're sending a cold email to someone that, I recognize that name, and then they're seeing your ad on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, wherever you're running them. Now, all platforms don't work for all individuals, okay? And this is something that you will need to test. Broadly speaking, I would recommend starting off with LinkedIn because it's the one platform that you can automate very easily, and then followed by Instagram. Away from that, you want to try out other platforms as well, but this is going to be unique to your business depending on your target audience. I have got some broad outreach KPIs for you. And this is based on our data of working with a variety of different agency owners and coaches and consultants. Generally speaking, we find, and these are metrics to look for. If you're within this data, then I wouldn't worry about changing anything. You can try and scale it up. If you're outside of this, and you might want to try and diagnose. A response rate, a good response rate, will be between 3 and 8%. If you look online, it says that the average response rate on email is 1%. I don't know what people are doing to screw up their emails to get a 1% response rate, but we find between 3 and 8. The positive reply rate, this is based on the people that actually reply, not total data, obviously, is 5 to 15%. Meeting book rate, 40 to 60% on those positive replies. Even if someone says, yes, I'll have a meeting with you tomorrow, it doesn't mean they're actually going to, so don't celebrate. And then the show-up rate, 60 to 75, and the close rate, around 30%. Okay, some of you might be closing at more than this, and if that's so, then great. Now, if you don't fall within these KPIs, and I do have some diagnostic variables for you. I'm going to quickly blast through these. How are we doing for time? Oh, no, okay. And it can be a number of different reasons, and only you are going to be able to diagnose this, and it's exactly the same when it comes to your ads. There are many different reasons as to why things can go wrong, but if they do, it's good to understand and have a plan. Your strength of your offer is normally the most important thing. Normally, the offer is the most important thing regardless, followed by your product market fit. Okay, are you putting this offer in front of the right people? Then the quality of your leads. Are you cutting corners? Are you sending emails to info ad address, hello ad addresses? Are you making sure that these leads are high quality people? Then it could be your copywriting in the email or the DM itself. The timing, and by timing I mean what time of the day you're sending these emails to. We like to send emails Tuesday through to Friday. We do send Monday, we do Monday as well, but generally Tuesday through to Friday is where we send the bulk. And we send emails between 9 and 6. We're reaching out to both UK and US, and so that kind of works for both. We avoid emails over the weekend. Generally, we just find that it burns through leads. Also, your domain health. You can use domain health checkers. You can say spam, just Google spam checker on Google spam checker, and you will be able to put in your email and be able to locate whether you're on any blacklists at all. And if you are, then you want to make sure you get some new emails warmed up. I always recommend having more domains than you're actually using, at least 5 more domains than you're actually using at the moment, so you've got that backup. There's nothing worse than your emails going down, your deliverability is screwed, and then you don't have any domains in warming. You have to wait 2 weeks to get back up to that original volume. It's very frustrating. So have that kind of that pool that you can tap into. Response times is very important that you respond to people in a timely manner. You very often reach out to people and they say, hey, I can speak to you today. And so you need to be on it, because sometimes if you don't speak to them today, you won't actually speak to them ever. So you need to jump on people when they raise their hand. And then finally, brand perception. Is someone going on your website? You want to make sure that all your domains through to your original website, and it's not just a 404 error. Is there something on your website that people aren't resonating with? Is there congruency between your offer and what your website is actually stating and the way the copy is written? Now, it's very important that we track absolutely everything. So you want to use a tracking sheet, similar to what I went through with the results that we've generated. You want to track every metric that you can possibly track: your open rate, your response rate, your positive response rate, your close rate, your show-up rate, et cetera, just like you should be doing when it comes to your ads. I mean, we all know what it's like when you're running ads and attribution is all over the place, and it gets very messy to try and diagnose issues, and so you start just stabbing in the dark, and then you can waste months on the wrong thing. So track everything, and also use a CRM. We use Go High Level. It's a really good CRM tool. I actually used to hate the platform about 2 years ago. They got a lot of investment over the past couple of years, and they do a very good job now. You can use this for SMS as well. If you've already got a funnel and you've got appointment setters and you want to plug holes in your funnel and have appointment setters SMS everybody and call them up, it's an all-in-one SMS call pipeline management CRM tool. I would thoroughly recommend it. And you can also plug your ads into that as a side note as well. So let's quickly blast through some team and automation tools. The main team members you're going to need for this, if you're not doing it yourself, are appointment setters. And appointment setters are going to cost you anything from $1,000 to $1,200. You can get them cheaper, but when we're hiring for appointment setters, generally we hire from places like South Africa or the Philippines or elsewhere. South Africa actually is my main preference. You can get some incredibly high-quality talent in South Africa. It's a beautiful place. I spend 3 months of the year now myself as of this year. And generally speaking, a lot of people are now, I think South Africa is a little bit behind the Philippines when it comes to online work. But at the moment, you can get really high-quality people. I put out an application for an appointment setter this week. Within 48 hours on LinkedIn Jobs, I had 230 applicants. And then 5 of those I gave an interview to, and we're hiring 2 of them. So very high-quality people at $1,200 a month. Now, one appointment setter can generally send around 200 hyper-personalized outreaches a day. And by hyper-personalized, I mean you're pretty much personalizing the entire first line. Although for the majority of you, you can get away with semi-personalization. And that's where you're really using import fields, so maybe you're importing a product name or the location of the business or their company name and so on. Don't just import company name, because that's kind of the done thing. If you're doing that, make sure you're importing a couple of different fields as well. Again, you need to assess your industry and see what data you can get hold of in lead generation that you can then import. Now, again, in a broad sense, appointment setters can generate anything from 10 to 70 appointments per month, depending on your industry. I've seen this whole spectrum when it comes to specific individual appointment setters. So you do the maths on scaling this out. Your only bottleneck is going to be the amount of leads that you've actually got in your industry. Some of you might be in industries that do not have tens of thousands of leads that you can be reaching out to on a monthly basis. You can recycle those leads and use leads from 3 months ago. Generally, our rule of thumb is 3 months, we will recycle all of our previous leads. So you can constantly cycle through them without any kind of implication on results. Now, other team members that you might want to consider, if you don't want to be managing this yourself, and I would recommend doing it yourself to start off with, so you might want to hire a biz dev exec. Okay, this can cost you anything from 1.5K to 4K plus, depending on where you're hiring from and the quality of the candidate. This way, they'd be able to manage the whole lead generation process, manage the team, all the reporting and so on as well, to take it off your hands completely. And then software is going to cost you anything from $97 to $497, depending on what you're using, depending on the complexity of your lead generation process. Cool. So guys, I want to leave you with one last thought today. This is a quote that I live by every day. And I know cold outreach is out of the norm for many people that are here predominantly for ads. And ads is obviously the main reason you are here and arguably the most effective way to scale up your business. But I want to ask you, this is something that I live by every day. Do today what others won't, so tomorrow you can have what others can't. Be prepared to use tactics that your competitors are not prepared to take and to make. Cold outreach is incredibly effective, and I've closed personally millions in revenue from cold outreach. I come from a cold outreach background. I wasn't in the ad world before I started my business. Ads were alien to me. To this day, I still spend around 10K a month on ads, but generate multiple hundreds of thousands on a monthly basis because we have outreach dialed in. So there are other ways that you can generate revenue as well as part of a well-rounded inbound and outbound sales strategy. Cool, guys. That's it from me, but I have some outreach tools for you if you visit this link, and you can get access to them. Nice.